Welcome into the Unknown Realm with your hosts, Steve and Naomi from STURS Paranormal. Take a journey with us into a world that few understand and even fewer dare to go. On your home for everything wicked at DTMWickedRadio.com.
I love it. That's my A-town.
Happy Halloween, everybody. This is a very special Into the Unknown Realm Halloween special with a lot of awesome guests with us today.
That's me. Oh, sorry.
Yes, Steve made it.
I'm here.
But not only did Steve Clark made it, but Steve, he made it back to us all the way from his vacation, and he will be manning the chat room.
Chatterbox himself over there.
And we have...
He talks!
He's sporting a lovely tan, which I am jealous of. And we also have very special with us, one of our teammates, Dan LaRose.
Woo! Very special. Welcome to the show.
So, last week was his birthday, and we all ate our cupcakes for him.
Yes, I know.
We literally just threw away the other cupcakes.
That was
you went and put pictures on, just to rub it in my face.
I did.
They were good.
Why? Because I was eating it in my face.
Yeah, that was yummy. As we know, I'm Naomi Gorman.
I'm Steve Clark.
I'm Brian.
I'm Terry.
She can't talk very well tonight. She's got almost laryngitis.
She's got that flu they caught on The Walking Dead.
Yes. I'm Dan Rose.
And yep, that's Steve.
That's Steve.
Whoa.
So without further ado, we want to bring on our very first guest with his
Disclaimer.
Oh. What's this?
Disclaimer that we're not here to... The things that are said tonight, we're not here to... Oh, actually, that's for tomorrow. Never mind. I'm telling you, we got way too much going on.
Steve's going a little crazy. We're a busy group. But anyways, with us right now, we have the very special Dan Hoban, as seen on Haunted Encounters, School Spirit, Paranormal Challenge, and Resident Undead. Welcome back to Into the Unknown Realm with us, Dan.
Hey, how's it going? You guys hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, we can hear you.
Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. So, tell us your most scariest story experience that you have, that you can think of, that has happened with you, that you know what I'm talking about.
With all your experiences, what was the thing that scared you out of your pants the most?
It was oddly human. When I was at Penhurst State School 2 Januaries ago, we were filming some stuff for the web series, and Jordan and I were actually standing in the hallway of the Mayflower, started hearing a loud slamming. We went to look, and it was basically somebody was slamming on the outside door, and we were under instructions not to let anybody in because they have private security there, and we have a phone number. And they were knocking on the door. My biggest fear, I've always said, is if there's any squatters or people breaking in, just vandalism for vandalists. And so we stood there for about half an hour arguing because they said that they were cops. They want to give us a badge number. And I had, there's actually video footage, I have 20 feet of chain wrapped around my hands as if I couldn't do anything, threatening them while we're waiting on a personal security detail to get there. But it was scary because not only are we at Penhurst in the middle of January, we're alone on that whole campus. For all we know, there's some crazy hobo outside trying to get in.
Right, yeah.
It turned out to be the cops, but I'm from that area, and it doesn't surprise me local cops don't feel the need to give you identification. So if somebody says they're a cop, they just open the door. And I guess the scariest paranormal one would be, I would say actually, at St. Mark's Church in the Bowery, just because, I'm pretty desensitized to all this, but I remember getting shown in the show that Jordan fell about 4 feet off a ladder, and that was pretty scary because we were all separated, and we just heard her fall in the walkie-talkie. So that was pretty scary for, I guess, some reason.
Wow. Now, I know like some really creepy stuff has happened to us, like at Rolling Hills, and you've been there several times.
Mhm.
And you actually won the paranormal challenge with your thing that you did at Rolling Hills, right?
Yeah. I actually got pretty scared down there in the basement. I asked Raymond to make a noise, and then something, I don't know what it was, slammed against it, sounded like the water heater down there, or it was a huge bang, and it scared the hell out of me. And that was more of a shock than anything, just because I wasn't expecting it. But I mean, that was pretty. All those noise, I'm just like, what have I got myself into?
Yeah, that's definitely one creepy building. I told Naomi that if she left her gear up on one of those floors like Shadow Hallway, there's no way I was going up there by myself to get it.
She should go by herself.
I might have, yeah, actually. I think I might have done that. Yeah, we actually recently were going back over our evidence of Rolling Hills, and we found some more stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we, I think we told you about how we saw on Shadow Hallway at the very end, you know, the atrium area at the end with all the windows. And we saw a black mass go from right to left. And we both saw it, which was cool that we were both able to see that. And we had taken pictures when we were down there in the place, you know, all over. And then when we were leaving, that's when we actually saw the shadow. And anyways, we took pictures as we were leaving. And now going back on our pictures, we actually caught this white
figure.
Figure over by that table that has like the Santa Claus and the Christmas tree and all that on there. That was cool, and it's quite large. Yeah.
And then the
two faces in the window.
Yeah. I think I need to show Sharon that. I'm sure she would definitely love it. And then when we were leaving, we actually took some pictures. Steve has a thing with windows.
I'm a window looker.
Yeah.
Not a window licker, but a window looker.
Not a peeping Thomas either.
But anyways, so he took a picture of the backside near the entrance, but near on the right side of that entrance, the ramp. And we actually caught two pretty good things in this one picture. One is a really nice orb on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, in one of the windows, you can actually see two faces. And I mean, like...
You can see the hairline, the different color of hair on both of them. It's actually pretty impressive. As you keep looking at it, you find more and more.
Yeah, it's definitely cool.
I will say Rolling Hills, and I say that to this day from my experiences just kind of around everywhere. Rolling Hills has always, at least in my experiences, provided the best visual evidence when it comes down to pictures and video. It always seems to get the best ones out, so I love that for that. I think it's more visible for visual evidence there.
Yeah. I can't wait to go back. I want to get the whole team this time to go, though.
Yeah, I'm up for a road trip.
You should join us when we go, Dan.
Well, let me know. I'm in the northeast, guys, so I'm still, only a few hours away from everything. It's a nice luxury.
There you go. Well, you're always, welcome to join us on anything that we do. So.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I actually, it's been a little bit since I've done anything kind of big scale like that. I did something for a Halloween party. So I guess I did it Saturday. I'm a mess right now. And I'm going to be doing something next week, but after we're going up in Ohio next week for Lake County Historical Society, but after that, my schedule is pretty much clean for a month, so wintertime.
Really?
Well, you're on vacation.
Yeah.
That sounds nice, Dan.
I hibernate during the winter if I can.
You know what we're doing on our vacation? We're going to Black Swan. Another haunted place.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, we're like, let's get away. Let's go do something. Let's go to another investigation.
Yeah, is it haunted? Let's find out if it's haunted now.
Unbelievable.
Whenever we go anyplace, we got to go do an investigation here. Let's get a hotel that's haunted. That'll be awesome. But yeah, that's cool. So do you have like any other upcoming events besides the ones you mentioned? I know you do a lot of like fundraising and stuff.
Yeah, I work. In the wintertime, it's close by. I try to work with historical societies. This is actually my third year in a row with the Lake County one. I'll be up there with Michelle Vaughn-Jay from Annie's Paranormal State and Rebecca Kirschbaum from School of Spirits. We'll be up there for that this Friday. Actually, it's Saturday, but they texted me today, and today was Friday, so I kind of laughed. I'm glad she did that. After that, there's going to be one more large-scale event I'm doing in April. They're still ironing up. They talked to me today about it. As far as anything else, I'm kind of on hold. I'm going to be working on actually a short film in about a month. It's actually going to be at the Twin City Opera House on my ghost story. I know the United Paranormal Project actually runs that. We're actually using I'm working on. But right now I'm kind of in a holding period. I don't have anything planned. I really can't plan anything. So nothing crazy. It's actually going to be nice to kind of relax and, I don't know, hibernate till we're out again to do something.
Oh, I know.
So you going trick-or-treating, Dan?
It was funny. I was pulling out my driveway with Rebecca on Saturday to go out to Halloween party I was hosting out there in Ohio, and I felt so bad because I was running a little bit late, and all the trick-or-treaters were out. And I'm like, oh man, because I don't want to put candy on my porch and leave because then kids like me will take all of it and leave none for the other ones. So I was being judged by the children that saw me pulling out my driveway real slowly as they looked on my porch and saw I had left nothing for them. I felt bad, but I didn't want to leave it out. I know one kid would just take all of it.
Right.
Right. I know here we have in this area, and I don't even know why, but we have trick-or-treating always on the 30th.
A lot of neighborhoods do that. Unfortunately, things aren't, I guess, nice how they used to be. Here's a scary story for you. One Halloween in 5th grade, I saw my friend get hit by a car in front of me, and then
Wow.
It was funny. You guys will remember him. I was Judge Ito for Halloween. I remember seeing my friend get hit by a car. I'm like, in hindsight, it was funny because his mother made him wear the highlight strips all over his clothes for like the next 3 years. But he was okay.
That's awesome.
And he's good. He walks okay, good now, and
We still joke about it. God bless his mother. She put those on everything.
Reflective tape.
Oh, that poor guy. Oh man, I know that brings up a very, very good point. Everybody, please be careful of the trick-or-treaters. Drive slow. Please don't kill nobody's kids. Stuff like that. That's crazy. Oh no. Well, Dan, I am so thrilled that you were able to come on and share your ghost story with us. Oh, our next caller actually just disappeared. That's weird.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'll let you guys bring them on.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and you have a very happy Halloween.
Don't eat too much candy, Dan.
Too late.
Wait, don't forget your reflective tape. We'll catch you later, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
All right. Good night. Love Dan Hoban.
Awesome guy.
Yeah.
Awesome guy.
A lot of stories.
He's always so funny, and I love just talking to him. He's just...
So we're presently waiting for our next caller. We had him, and we lost him.
No, actually, we had...
There he is.
Oh, no. This is... I'm sorry, guys, for the craziness.
It's just begun.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. For our callers, we have with us Debbie Perkins.
Hey,
Debbie
guys.
oh, yeah.
She is a several-time nominated and winner of Radio Show of the Year. Host and founder of Maine Extreme Paranormal. Correct?
You got that right.
And also now actress.
I am just breaking into the business. And I'm actually in one movie that's local, that's filming right now called The Taken. and I'm up for another part, and we shall guess. We'll find out how that works.
Well, good luck.
It's so weird. It's a complete different atmosphere than what I'm used to.
Wow. Well, that's cool. I think that's really cool. I would love to do that. I think acting would be a lot of fun. Probably stressful because, everybody has their opinions on how things should be done and, But I think that's cool.
I haven't experienced any stress yet. I've met some really nice people here locally, and I'm working with a professor. I told you earlier, I was at community college today, and I did 2 lectures, and I just got home from the second lecture, and we were talking about the paranormal, and I was talking to this decent-sized student body of all ages. So let's put it this way. Everybody's going back to get their education. There weren't all just children out there. And they were very interested and fantastic. It was just fantastic the way they received me. Both classes were uniquely different, but the questions were similar to the same, and they were in-depth. And they put me on the spot a few times. But I love that. I love being able to be put on the spot when it comes to paranormal.
Now, I feel like, Debbie, you are the welcoming committee. Like when we went and did the Paranormal Awards and we were doing the Paracon,
Tilton.
In Tilton, you came right over and you were so gracious and nice to us and talked with us, and that was awesome. And it's so funny because you asked us to be on your show, and here you're on ours.
Isn't that funny? It's a kind of events that usually, and I think that's how it happens a lot of times is people connect and they end up doing things like I just did, grabbed a bunch of people from the paranormal field. On one day, I got 15 people to send me 4 questions. 2 of them were your name and your address. The other 2 questions were on the importance of paranormal. This was all going for a magazine. It had to be in by Monday morning. And I got 15 people, 8 of them got put in the magazine.
Wow, that's
cool. That's awesome.
So we all shake each other's hands, and people want to talk about paranormal unity. It's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to do it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You gotta live it.
Absolutely right. So, Debbie, I would love to hear your most scariest ghost story that has happened to you.
Oh, my gosh. I don't know if you know, but I've had visions, and I've had them on and off since I was a teenager. But I've used them only little in the paranormal aspect. I'm more scientific like you guys. But what happened was I did go to a location. I did have a vision of a woman being held down, and the woman's face continued to change. And I was talking to the owner and a psychic at the time, and I was telling them what I was experiencing. And come to find out, this room, and I was seeing lots of blood and people in white, and it just didn't seem normal. I thought there was something unusual going on. Come to find out, it was used for illegal abortions. Well, we spent the night there in the opposite room, and of course, in the middle of the night, I have to go to the bathroom. Like a fool, I have to walk past that room, and I didn't want to. I had that gut-wrenching feeling. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Just don't want to go there, and I rarely feel that. Well, I ended up going past that, and I actually sat in my menstruation, believe it or not, in a room behind that room, because actually the bathroom was considered part of that room at one point in time. It was what it was the room was split into, 2 different sections. It was used as a bathroom and a bedroom. Well, lucky me, I got to experience the full throttle of that investigation on top of having a personal experience and then having it happen to me. So really weird, really scary in a way, because I don't like unexpected Mother Nature calls when I know when I'm on schedule. I'm off schedule, girl, but that didn't happen to me. So I think that probably scared me the most because it affected me internally.
Wow.
It had a physical effect.
Yeah, wow.
Like we went, I don't know if you've gone to the Haunted Victorian.
I have.
And the nanny's room?
I do. I saw a lady choked in that room. Yeah. The red room you're talking about?
No, it's like right next to
next
the red,
door. Yeah.
the red room.
Right
Okay.
between the red room and the stairwell.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
When I went in there and Edwin was giving us the tour, like I just got this awful gut-wrenching feeling in my stomach. And, I tried to stand there, bear it, thinking, it'll pass or whatever. But I was just like, almost like I couldn't breathe. And it was just this pain just right in the pit of my gut. And I'm like, okay, I need to, go out of the room. There's got to be something in the room. And I did. I went out of the room, went into the doorway, and it went away. So that's the one time I've really, felt, what you're talking about. But yeah.
Yeah, I do believe there are entities there that are still there, because I don't believe they've had anybody come in and do a cleansing or anything that, would rid spirit of their home. But I know what you're feeling about, but I had the feeling in the room before that where the red room is. I visualized the woman being choked out in that room. Then we did an EVP session and got a man's name that matched up with one of the historical names of a man that would have been the one choking her. So how cool is that? That's so cool you had similar experience.
Oh, yeah, we had lots of different experiences there. Well, Debbie, I hate to, rush off.
Oh, don't worry about it. This girl just have her supper. And happy Halloween, everybody, and thank you so much for the honor of being a part of your show tonight.
Well, we'll have to definitely get you on for a full hour.
That's okay.
Definitely we need to have you on for a whole hour sometime after you're not so
That would be fantastic.
All right.
I would love to talk with you guys.
Well, good luck on that part that you're waiting on.
Oh, thank you. And I'm going to go turn my radio on so I can hear everybody else tonight.
Awesome.
Take care, Debbie. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. So coming on next with us is Bishop James Long. He's the Archbishop of the United States of Old Catholic Church. He is a demonologist, exorcist. He's been seen on shows such as Ghost Stories, A Haunting. He's on Paranormal Paparazzi documentaries from the Sci-Fi Channel such as A Haunted Boy, The Possessed, and Spooked. So welcome, Bishop James, to our show.
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, we're glad you were able to join us. We've actually never had the pleasure of meeting you person to person, so we'll definitely have to look forward to that sometime.
And it definitely seems like you're a pretty busy man, so thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule to join us.
Yes, thank you.
Well, absolutely. Again, thanks for inviting me. I know you guys have a lot of people waiting in the wings, but thanks for the invite.
Now, tell us your scariest ghost story that has happened to you.
Well,
I love the laugh.
Well, I mean, there's so many, from Waverly Hills to cemeteries to, I think probably one of the most interesting ones for me was probably in Bachelor's Grove, in cemetery. That's in Cook County, Illinois. And I went to graduate school in Mundelein, and I visited there, and that was it's a very peculiar place. And when you're there and you're walking, especially through the path, and there's weeds all around and bushes, I don't know, it's a very strange thing. I was there quite late one evening, and there's no doubt in my mind that I saw shadows, you hear whispers. It's probably one of the most active places I've ever been to as far as hauntings and things of this nature. So I would say Bachelor's Grove is probably way up there.
Now, can you describe some experience that happened there, or almost like a story of
what made it the most scariest in your mind?
Yeah.
As far as the most scariest, I wouldn't say that would be the most scariest. I'd say it was scary because I was there. It was starting to get late at night, and it's very easy. You can lose your path because there was a lot. Where I was, there was a lot of growth, and I tell you, when you hear the noises, you hear the strange noises, and you think it's animals, and one time it sounded like an animal, quite honestly, being attacked. And it's a horrific screeching noise. I mean, the sound was terrible. And I just kind of chucked it up. So it has to be an animal being attacked. But you hear it 3 or 4 times. You're like, okay, it might be time for an exit right now. But it's shadows. Oh my God, the shadows you would see all around. I mean, it was almost. I would say probably that was a scary moment as far as. I was afraid that, oh God, get lost or twist and turn around. Because it's not a huge cemetery, but it's one that you can kind of get disoriented. But probably the scariest place was the family had asked me to visit a cemetery because in E-Town, Kentucky, because apparently a lot of people were going in there and doing some bad stuff, some black magic, something, and just some really stupid stuff. And so I went in with about 4 people. And it was very late at night, very, very late. And now imagine when you're going down this road, there are no lights, no street lights. It's a dirt road, and it goes on for a couple miles. And there are, all it is like woods on both sides, very, very dark. As a matter of fact, if you turn the lights off, you would not see anything, nothing. You couldn't even see the hand in front of your face. It was so dark. And a friend of mine had went there in front of me, like 4 cars ahead of me. And he stopped and he turned around. And I said, well, why are you turning around? He said, I'm not going in there. I said, well, what do you mean? We got to go in there. The family asked us, I'm not going in there. And the reason being is, and this guy is a very logical person. He said he was driving and he saw a little girl pushing a boy in an old wheelchair. And this is late at night. Now, keep in mind, there's nothing on the right or left except for woods and barbed wire. And so he asked, he said, excuse me, we're trying to find the cemetery. Can you help us out? And the little girl just pointed straight down. And he thanked him, and he went a little further, and he looked back in the rearview mirror. They were not there. There's no way they could have gone left or right. There's no way. So he turned around, and he said, I'm not going. There's no way I can do it. I can't do it. So he left, proceeded on, and we kept on driving. And this place, it's so heavy and so dark that when you go there, you feel the oppression well before you actually dead end, because it dead ends into it. And so we went back there, and it was completely calm, no clouds. We went in the back to a tree. It's a dead tree where apparently a lot of satanic rituals are performed, blessing the tree, etc., blessing the grounds. And the wind just started picking up, almost as if there was like a storm. I mean, it was so strange. The top of the trees were bending and bowing. And this was, again, like very late, and we would see shadows of, it looked like people were running around us, and it would have been impossible because there were cliffs. I mean, literally just running really fast, just all around us. And we then thought, okay, now we got to be prepared for something else, and the other people were not, who were with me, so we decided to leave. And while we were leaving, you could feel, there's one way in, one way out, the same path. You could feel almost that the cemetery was closing in around you. There was no question, and everyone felt this. Everyone felt it. Finally, we got out, and I had a person there who doesn't believe in the paranormal at all. He thinks it's just a bunch of bunk. And he's very skeptical, but he took his flashlight. We left the cemetery. We looked around, and he turned around and shone his flashlight on this tree. Now, at that time, there's a lot of leaves that are falling from the tree, so that you can still see the moonlight penetrating the tree. And he shined his light on this massive object that every single one of us saw.
Wow.
It was this huge, I don't know, it looked 8 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot, massive winged, that's the best way to describe it, winged creature. I don't know what it was. We saw it. It was very clear. He dropped his flashlight, screamed. He got in the car. The other person in front of us was an executive, and he also didn't believe in the paranormal. So he got in his car. He went 80 miles per hour down this road, completely destroyed his suspension in his $200,000 car. Destroyed it. He was absolutely terrified.
Now, Bishop, do you link that to being demonic?
Well, it's something very evil. There's no question it was evil. I mean, absolutely. I mean, the overwhelming oppression. I mean, and it was like on this tree, and it was looking down. It was very clear. Very, to this day, I would take a lie detector test. It was a very strange creature, quite honestly. I've never seen it in my life before. I've never seen it. And people, I've talked to people about this, and they say, well, you see the Mothman. I don't know what the Mothman is. I don't even know if I believe in the Mothman. But I know what I saw, and I know that these other people saw it. and it scared this executive so much that he destroyed his car to get out of that place.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've heard of the Mothman too.
Wow.
Not sure what do I think about that, but.
Wow, Bishop James, that was an awesome story. I love that. That was good. I'm going to remember that one. That was really good. I don't mean to cut it like short, but we're thrilled that you were able to come on and tell us your story. That was awesome. We definitely want to have you on our show again sometime.
Or
just
a full
with
hour
you on
or whatever.
it. Yep. So we can have a much longer time to share with you, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. Having me on.
Awesome. We'll get together and we'll schedule that. Once again, thank you so much for being on our show.
Have a happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
Oh, you too. Have a great night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Woo. That was the awesome one.
That was a good story.
I got goosebumps on that one.
Long is awesome. I've seen him on shows and stuff. And
these next three guests, though.
Yeah.
You don't need introduction.
Well, of course they need introduction. Our next three guests is Ken DaCosta. He's the founder and investigator of Rise Up Paranormal and investigator for the TAPS home team. Julie DeMay, she is an investigator, researcher, and video specialist for Rise Up Paranormal. And Joe Chin, an investigator for Rise Up Paranormal and the TAPS team, and also best known from Ghost Hunters International. Welcome, all three of you.
How are ya? Good evening.
You guys there? Hello? Oh.
They were there.
I think we just lost someone. Hello?
All right. So as she's trying to get that, I would just definitely like to thank everybody for being in the chat room tonight. We definitely have some interesting people in there, and hopefully, what's that?
Ken's in the chat room.
Ken's in the chat room.
Ken's in the chat room.
He's supposed to be on the air.
Hello.
Hi, Ken.
Hey.
Hi, how are you? I just had 45 seconds of something buzzing over the phone in my ear here. I didn't think, I thought you guys were under attack or something like that.
That was just me. I like to buzz like that.
The alien.
Good Lord, that was unreal. But anyway, it went away. How are you tonight?
Good. How are
Good.
you?
You?
Very good, thanks. Very good, thanks. We're
We're trying to keep control of the controlled chaos.
That's it. Very festive mood tonight. It is the season.
Yeah, definitely. So, Ken, tell us your scariest ghost story that has happened to you.
Oh, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to tell you a real ghost story.
Yeah, that's
I'm going
what I
to
want.
tell you. Okay, I'm going to tell you a documented ghost story. Okay, and my ghost story began. This sounds like the Bio Channel. The ghost story began in a restaurant down my end of the state here in Rhode Island. That when we first started the group, we were asked to come in, and it was built on land owned by a woman named Rebecca Cornell. Now, as the story goes, Rebecca was an elderly lady. She was around 73 years old when all this took place. And she lived with a ne'er-do-well son, translation, he was a bum named Thomas, and his wife, Sarah, and a couple of kids. So Thomas and Sarah were basically sponging off Rebecca at the time. And the poor woman was mistreated horribly. At her advanced age, she would have to go outside in the winter and cut her own firewood if she was cold. She barely had enough blankets to keep her warm in the winter months. And eventually she got tired of this treatment and started to tell people in the family that she was thinking about getting out from underneath all this. So word got back to Thomas that his meal ticket may be leaving town because he had designs to inherit the property and basically continue to sponge off of his mother even after her death. So one Sunday afternoon, She didn't like the salt mackerel dinner that was prepared, so she excused herself and went up to I don't blame her. But she went back up to her room to knit, and Rebecca smoked a corncob pipe. She sat in front of the fireplace inside of her room. When they hadn't heard from her for a few hours, they sent one of their grandchildren up there. He knocked at the door, and there was no answer. So eventually he got his father, and her son Thomas went up, pushed the door open, and found Rebecca half in the fireplace, burned.
Oh, my.
So immediately he called the constables, reported this, and it was basically written off as an old lady who stumbled, lost her balance, fallen into the fire, a tragic accident. And nothing more was said about this. Thomas, of course, went on to live there. He would inherit everything. Now, Rebecca had a brother, John Briggs. And one night, John was in bed, and he was awoken by a glow inside the room. When he opened his eyes and looked at the foot of the bed, he saw something engulfed in flames. And as he looked at it with this horrified look on his face, he said, "What are you?" And the words came from this being, said, "Gaze upon me, Briggs. I am your sister. See how I have been wronged. See how I burn. I have been murdered." Well, obviously, John didn't get a wink of sleep for the rest of the night, but this preyed on his mind. So he contacted the constables and said that he would like the body of his sister exhumed. This was just a matter of a few days later, because he felt that there was foul play involved. Well, he convinced the constables to do this. They got their court order. They exhumed the body. And when they did a proper autopsy, they found a puncture wound in her stomach. Well, because there had been already some kind of turbulence and hostilities in the house, and Thomas certainly had the motive, he certainly had means to a weapon, he was tried. At the trial, his wife, Sarah, made the remark that, well, she always did like a good fire anyway. She was very flippant about the whole thing, which didn't win many points. And she also, in an act of desperation, tried to convince everyone that Rebecca was a witch. Well, that failed miserably as well. Thomas was tried and convicted of the murder of his mother. He was marched up to Monotonomy Hill in Newport, Rhode Island, where he was hanged until he was dead. It remains to this day the only case in United States jurisdictional history where a man has been sentenced to death based on the testimony of a ghost.
Wow.
And that is a documented ghost story.
That's
now,
a good one.
There's also an addendum to this, too, I'd like to throw in for your consideration. Do any of you think that matricide or patricide can be genetic? In other words, do you think a killer can give birth to a killer, can give birth to another killer?
That's an interesting question.
I don't know.
I mean, I would almost think that you could have a hereditary gene.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, a gene.
To trigger some type of mental illness.
Chemical imbalance.
Yeah. Well, you might be right, because our story, now normally it's an interesting story, and it's documented here in the state of Rhode Island. So it is a true ghost story, but if it ended there, it would be strange enough, but it doesn't end there. At the time of the trial, Sarah was pregnant with a little girl.
Oh, wow.
And in an act of defiance, she named the little girl Innocence Cornell.
Wow.
I've heard of this girl.
And Innocence went on to grow into a young woman and married and had children of her own, and they had children, and they had children, and so forth and so on. One member of her descendants, a great-great-great-grandchild, is probably someone that you've heard of, or maybe not. Have you ever heard of a woman named Elizabeth Gordon?
Yeah, Lizzie Borden.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yep.
Now we see.
Which was Innocent's great grandchild.
Wow.
So the tie-in is when we went to investigate this restaurant on the property and began to research it. I learned and found out about one of my favorite ghost stories. It may not be a personal experience, but I thought in spirit of the season, that was something I wanted to share with you.
That's awesome.
That's a good one, yeah.
Thank you, Ken.
Wow.
I hear Joe.
You're welcome.
Yes, hi.
Hey,
Hi,
Joe.
Tell us your story.
Good. My story now?
Yeah.
Okay. There were actually two in particular. There was one incident where I was working at a country club here in Lincoln, Rhode Island, and I was on my way to pick up a paycheck. And I was driving with my sister, who I was living with at the time, my sister Bonnie, and we had just picked up our paychecks, and we were going to deliver another paycheck to a friend down the road. So we proceed to drive on the street down the road. It's windy road in Lincoln, and it's about dusk time. And we noticed that there was some debris in the road, and I couldn't tell what it was. But when we ran over it, it felt like rocks. And I could feel the car shake, and I could feel the bumps, and we're driving. We think it's really strange. And then split second later, we see this, what looks like a man in a black and red checkered shirt or jacket, and then he had a same color cap. But he had a leaf blower, and looked like he was blowing leaves across the road as he was just waving the wand around. But this happened right as we were coming around a corner, and we didn't even see where he came from. It looked like he came out of the tire of the driver's side front tire and kept walking. So we were like, well, that's really odd. So we got off the paycheck, and on the way back, we hit the same road. And when we went to go to that spot where we experienced the debris in the road and the gentleman we saw, there was nothing there. But I could physically feel the rocks as we drove over it. And when we went back, it was clear. There was nothing on the roads.
How
so
weird.
Actually physically moved the car.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an odd. I was like, what was that? Because it's in the daytime, kind of dusk. I could still see a little bit of light. And we were looking for the rocks, so we should be careful that the rocks above, don't drive into them and get into an accident. So we approached the area carefully, and there were no rocks. There was nothing there. It was clear.
Well,
it was strange.
Yeah.
Very, very odd. And did you have another one that you say you had?
Yeah, there was one other incident where I was away filming for GHI, and we were in Denmark, and it was at a castle called Castle Dragslom. And there was one investigation time where Brandy and myself went down to the basement where supposedly Mary Queen of Scots' husband was in prison and had died there. So we were investigating for 1 hour, and there's just the three of us, myself, Brandy, and one cameraman. And it was a pretty small dungeon, dirt floor, rocks around for walls, nothing to lean on. And we were down there for an hour investigating, trying to get an EVP session done. But nothing happens. So we were like, well, it's been an hour and nothing's really happening. Let's go upstairs and find a different part of the castle. So we do. But as we go up the stairs, my arm starts to burn and sting as though I'm getting like a cigarette burn or something, just really burning on my wrist here. So she says, we'll wait till we get to the top of the stairs. I'll look at it. So when I got to the top of the stairs, I pulled my sweatshirt up and my long-sleeve shirt, and then underneath I had teeth marks, what looked like human teeth marks. There were 4 teeth, a space, and another tooth. Just the tops, not the bottoms, and you could feel the indent of the tooth as I ran my fingers over my skin. So they were all excited, and they took photos, and they were like, all right, we got to film part of this, but we need you to go back downstairs. And I said, no way. Like, for you, that thing bit me. I'm not going down there again. But I had to. So it took like 40 minutes for me to, like, shake the feeling off that I got bitten by something I couldn't see. But we went back down, and luckily nothing happened, but that was a really odd occurrence.
Now, how long did you have those marks on you?
It lasted about 40 minutes.
Wow. Wow, I think that would shake me up a little, too.
It was crazy. Like, what hit me?
Yeah, exactly. Wow, Creepy.
Did you ever get that feeling there again that they're coming as like a
no. It felt kind of strange in parts of the castle. Parts of the castle I felt like something didn't want us there. But as you know, being a paranormal investigator, we usually go by feelings. We try to get documents that something is around and affecting the environment. So I usually don't expect it, but we were hearing disembodied voices during camera setup. It was pretty like it's going to be an active night, guys.
Right. Yeah. Right. Huh. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, it's funny because like people will tell us, scary things that happen to them, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome, and then it's like, oh, wait, no, that's terrible. I gotta remember to like pull that back.
Hey, Joe, just real
it's
quick.
It's a little scary sometimes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We actually had a question for you, Joe, on that first story that you told us, and
this is off our chat room.
Our chat room, yeah. We have a gentleman named Eric Hardy that's actually asking or wondering if you know if a man has been hit in that area previously on that roadway.
That I don't know because I only had the job for like maybe 4 months. So I was kind of new to the area. I never worked at the country club before, and it was all kind of a whole new experience. But I didn't do any research, which I probably should have, to see if somebody had died in that particular road at some point.
It'd be interesting to see if that actually was the case. That'd be
definitely.
It would definitely add to the story too,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Now,
thank
Julie,
you for that question.
You're welcome. Well, no, thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
We'll take credit for it.
Yeah, wasn't ours. It was a good question, though. Definitely a good question. Now, Julie, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Julie.
How are
Hello,
you doing?
Julie.
Good. How are you
doing?
Hi,
Julie.
Busy day, but I'm looking forward to telling my story.
Awesome.
Okay, everybody else. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Hi.
All right, go ahead. Tell us your story.
Do you need spooky music in the background?
Yeah.
Throw us a little.
If you want, Ken.
Go ahead.
Now you have to see what I have to put up with every day with Ken.
We love it.
Thank you very much.
This happened several years ago before I was at Rise Up. I won some kind of contest for a charity event at some house in Taunton to investigate it with a group. And I was with several friends, and we were, in the house, and it was the anniversary of a murder that had taken place 250 years ago.
Wow.
So they thought that was a real good reason to investigate. And I think a slave had been murdered in the kitchen, and I think her body was found in the basement. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So we had gone there, and we started up. We were in the attic or something, and during the course of the evening, there were several times you could hear a door slam. And they had the lock keys, and nobody claimed, it was them. And I'm like, yeah, right. Let's scare the crap out of the public here.
Right.
So I'm like, fine. And so at one point, we were at a break, and we were actually I think we were in the kitchen, and there was dim lighting, so I could actually look out of the kitchen where they had their command central set up, and there was some lighting. And I noticed there was a door pried open. Now, keep in mind, they didn't have carpets, 250 years ago.
Right.
So this door was wedged open in the hallway. And I was thinking to myself, this is an opportunity. If somebody wants to get my attention, I'm looking at a door, go for it. So I'm looking at the door. There's nobody recording. I didn't have a camcorder at the time. No audio, nothing was recording. And I'm staring at the door. And at first I'm sort of asking questions silently. I'm like, if you're here, this is your chance. Go for it. And I saw the door wiggle a little bit. I'm like, yeah, my eyes are just playing tricks on me. It's 2 in the morning. And then it slammed right in my face. Scared the living crap out of me. 5 feet away.
Wow.
5 feet away. And the thing is, while it slammed, it wasn't like a real fast
as it was closing, I mumbled very loudly because as it scared the crap out of me, I was trying to get other people's attention in the room, and all came out was just mumbles. And for like 5, it scared the living crap out of me, and then it just closed. And I'm like, oh my God. And that is literally, I mean, I have never been so scared where I was like, I'm trying to get everybody's attention. Please look at the door, it's closing on me. And nobody saw it. They saw it when it closed.
Wow. Wow, that would probably make me scream.
Right. If I get locked in the closet, I'm banging that door until somebody opens it.
I think I didn't want to leave the room. You know, I'm like, oh my God, is the door going to slam on me again? And what we did, we had turned the lights on, and I checked out the door. It had been wedged way under the carpet. So I think whoever was moving it had to give it a little nudge to actually break it loose from the carpet. And that's what I did see. And then it closed on me.
Wow.
And I've done so many investigations, and this by far was the scariest. You would walk into rooms and you thought you were walking into air-conditioned rooms.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. Burst of like cold air, everything. So this was by far the scariest thing that probably I guess, if you ask yourself, really be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
I wish for the door to close, and it did.
Wow.
It heard your thoughts, huh?
That's what I was sort of thinking. I've never asked questions that way, just in my mind, and they actually responded. So that was actually very interesting.
I actually get that quite a bit. Like, I'll actually be thinking a question, and I'll get the response, either a K2 or a light to come on or what have you.
Before it comes on.
It's actually, it's baffling. I almost want to try to see if I can research that a little bit more on if they actually can read your thoughts instead of just actually hearing the questions.
Right. Absolutely. Well, guys,
who's to say if they're actually reading your thoughts all along and they're not listening to you?
That would make sense.
That definitely is a good question. Well, you guys, thank you so much for coming on our show and sharing your ghost stories.
We definitely love having you guys on. So.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely love having you guys on.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you.
All three of you have a happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Thank you. Happy Halloween.
Okay, same to you, and have a great show.
All right.
Thank you. See you guys.
You're welcome.
Okay,
bye. Bye.
All right, that was Ken DaCosta, Joe Chin, and Julie DeMay. You guys want to give a little update of the World Series?
Since it's on a commercial, I have no idea. I think it's 1-0 Boston. 1-0 Boston.
Top going to the top of the.
Oh yeah.
The third, right?
I think you should get this guy on though, since he's been waiting 12 minutes, almost 13.
Hi, Bob.
Hello.
Hey, Bob. How are you?
Hey, Naomi. Hey, Steve. How are you?
Good,
I am doing excellent, especially with my new paranormal haircut.
I just got that. You know what? It was so funny because I didn't even recognize you guys at that event, okay? And I just saw so many people that weekend. You know how you put the blinders on and you're just kind of like, you're going through the motions, you want to make everybody happy? And I kind of grabbed you two out of the crowd. I said, come on, you're coming with me down to the barber shop.
Well, you actually did us a favor because we wanted to get away from the group. So I needed to get into a spot where I could actually do my own thing.
Yeah, as paranormal investigators, you want to go off, do your own thing. You have your own procedures, your own guidelines, and, you want to get away from the contamination and just do what, you do, which is investigating. And,
Very thrilled you picked us.
Yeah, we were thrilled and glad that we did that haircut thing and heard the shears on the EVP. And
just to let the listeners know a little bit. Yeah, I said it was the trigger object in a barber chair. And people that know me know I don't have much hair anyways. But
so you sat in the chair?
I sat in the chair, and we asked the barber to give me a haircut. And on the live playback of the EVP that I was listening to, I could actually hear the shears of metal scissors, and at the same time, I felt what felt like cobwebs going across my face.
Which like hair,
it was almost like hair.
Your face,
wow.
you know?
And we actually did catch the shears on voice recording. So
yeah, and
wow.
pretty cool.
We did.
Those of our listeners who like to know who Bob Christopher is the lead investigator, tech manager, and co-founder of IntoThe Paranormal and Ghost Detectives TV and radio show, as heard on our very own BTM Wicked Radio.
Radio. Out of the family.
Yeah, Bob's family. All right, Bob, tell us your ghost story.
Well, I've done so many investigations, and I thought about which exactly one I could tell, and there was just so many. But I'm actually going to tell you a story that actually got me into the paranormal field. I grew up in a house that I would definitely deem as a haunted house. Back in the day when I was younger, you couldn't really talk to your neighbor, or you couldn't go out and tell somebody that you had a haunted house. They would look at you like you belonged in a rubber room. It was very taboo, and you didn't talk to your priest or nothing about stuff like this. But we had stuff happen on a daily basis. I mean, from the time I was 9 years old till the time I was 16 years old, we owned this house. And what happened was we had remodeled the attic. And, I never had no idea about, how remodeling could, spawn paranormal activity. So after we finished this, I never actually saw it. My mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, they would see this thing on a daily basis. They would walk through the walls. They would walk upstairs. It would sound like chains dragging in the middle of the night, doors slamming. I mean, the whole gauntlet that you can imagine. Items moving constantly. And already I got so used to it that I would just kind of, whatever. I just kind of walk right by things. But the one scariest thing that ever happened to me, and this is what I think got me into the paranormal field, one night I had my bed actually levitate.
Wow.
And it felt like I was tied down to the bed. And I couldn't talk. I couldn't scream. I couldn't do anything. It was like it had me prisoner. You know what I mean? And I could feel the bed floating, and it's like the legs are going back and forth, tipping back and forth. So finally, after all of this going on, I don't know how long it lasted. It probably wasn't that long, but it felt like eternity, I screamed for my mother, of course. I was only probably 10 years old at the time. And she came in, she said, she still tells the story to this day. She says, you were as white as a sheet. And I told her the story, and she says, go on. Of course, she's trying to comfort me, saying it's my imagination, you know what I mean? But we all knew what was going on. So the day after that, we actually went over and discussed this with our priest, and he came and did a house blessing. So at the time, we had, I think it was 7 or 8 doors in the house, and he put blessed crucifixes over each door in the house to help, ward this off. So about 3 days after these crucifixes were hung up, I said to my mom, I says, why did you take all the crucifixes down? And she says, what are you talking about? And I said, well, the crucifixes are gone. These crucifixes disappeared. Every one of them. There were 7 of them. I remember 7. And, we just kind of put it off. Again, you try to ignore it. About, I would say it was like 6 years later, we were coming in with a grocery order. Myself, my mother, my father. And we, there's a living room, a parlor, and then you go into the kitchen. We're walking through into the parlor, and on this big living room table, there's the 7 crosses lined up on the table.
Wow. Really?
So that was pretty wild. I mean, for that to happen like that. And after that, I think 2 years after that, I got married, and we had my daughter. Like 5 years after that, we decided we were going to start this paranormal group, and I always wanted to investigate the house, because I always told the stories to my my friends and whoever was in our group about it. So my mother would never let us in there. I mean, never. She didn't want nothing to do with that. She didn't want, you know what I mean? The activity had died down. She doesn't want anything going on anymore.
She didn't want you to stir it up.
Decided, no, not at all. So my father had passed, and she decided she was going to move into a high-rise, a smaller house. She couldn't take care of it anymore. And she sold the house, and the night before it was, it was going to be turned over, she came to me, and she gave me the keys, and she said, you have 15 hours. Do what you want to do. So we actually got to investigate it. And we did a 15-hour investigation, and we got nothing except one EVP. And the EVP was meant for me, and it said, you lived here. And I said, that was plenty enough for me. Yeah.
Validation.
And that's my story.
That's so cool.
That's cool.
So did you ever end up putting the crosses back up?
And what you ended up doing?
Yes, we did. Actually, we did. And there's a little bit more to it. They sold it to like a Mexican family in the area. And I thought, I tried by the house about 6 months later. I drove by the house, and there is this 6-foot crucifix on the front of the house. And I'm thinking, okay, I think they met him.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. It makes you want to go knock on the door.
Yeah, I didn't want to even push the issue. You know what I mean? I'm actually glad I'm out of that house. I don't want nothing to do with it anymore because I know exactly what I went through.
Now,
that's actually what got me into the paranormal field.
Now, was there any other things that happened in the house besides what you told us about?
Oh, sure. I mean, like I said, there was the gauntlet. It was door slamming, the classic chains rattling. There was a wheelchair we had upstairs. We would close it, and that, a week later, it would be at the top of the stairs, wide open, just, with the door open, looking down the stairs at us. And we're like, oh, man, some of this stuff is just outrageous, Tools missing all the time. But, of course, my dad would blame me for taking tools, not the ghost,
So if that freaked you out so bad, why did you continue? Going into the...
Well, the thing was, back then, like I said, you just couldn't go to anybody and ask for help. There wasn't groups like there is now where anybody can just go online and say, okay, I need a paranormal group, and you find 5 in your area. There was, nobody. I mean, maybe the Warrens were out there, if that. That's how long ago it was. So, we decided that we were going to, start helping people with, the NEP paranormal side of it, and we did that for about 7 years, and then we landed the TV show, of course. We're into that for about 4 years now, but we've never actually mixed the two. We've always kept them separate, and even on the TV show, if you watch any of our episodes, we've done 55 episodes to date, and we've never done a house. We always keep that part of it away from the TV show.
Now, what does NEPA actually stand for?
Northeastern Pennsylvania.
Told ya.
Oh.
It's funny because we have a group here that goes by NEPA.
And friends of ours.
Northeast Paranormal Association.
Of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, it's called that. I made an appearance on, Ghost Adventures, and that's what they call it, NEPA.
Oh, so technically you guys don't go by NEPA.
No.
You just go by NEPA. Okay.
Gotcha.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now you have your daughter and your wife on your team as well, right?
Yes, I do.
Now,
my daughter is a co-founder, and my wife just comes along to see me anymore because she doesn't get to see me at all. That's how she got involved with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of cool. I mean, that you guys are co-founders together of it. Keeping in the family, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, my daughter actually comes on with us every now and then.
Yeah.
But right now she's still in high school and has a full-time job, so she isn't part of the group, but she likes to come along with us. So.
Oh yeah, and it's amazing. I mean, how well she does, and she's very professional and does a great job, you know. And, you know, doesn't fool around or any of that stuff.
Do you ever feel protected, however? I know I do.
Yeah. I mean, we have a good mix in our group. We have an older crowd and we have a younger crowd, so we pretty much have everything covered, like as far as, you know what I mean, like age groups. When we deal with children, we'll send the younger people in, you know, obviously, or that if it's of their era, we believe the spirit, you know, we'll send them in because they know how to talk better than I do. You know what I mean? I'm old school myself, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. You know, it all comes around, right? You know, eventually, you know, awesome is awesome again, and totally, and, you know, all those words come back eventually, and you don't sound old school anymore.
So, Bobby, we actually met you at for the first time at Rolling Hills, and one of the things when we broke apart and to do our own thing, me and Naomi actually went down this hallway where I believe you and George Lopez and I want to say Jiggy, were in a room doing a Hack Shack session. And from what we heard out in the hallway, it seemed pretty amazing. Did I actually hear that thing? Did I actually hear that thing say your name 3 times?
It's not only did it say my name 3 times, I was so freaked out by the thing. But George, oh my God, he's a pioneer as far as the ghost box. I mean, I don't know how you feel about the ghost box, but I would rather get a root canal than do the ghost box session. It's so annoying to me. Yep. It really is.
That's how I feel.
But, you know, hey, you know, you're trying to get yes or no answers, and you're going to get that, you know what I mean, with the ghost box. But the way he does it, he does, like, validation words, and the words are so far out there. Like, the one validation word was balloon star. And I said, what the heck is he talking about? And then all of a sudden I hear, you know, the ghost box say 4 times balloon star. I'm like, am I hearing this right? You're like scratching your head there. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, he is just incredible. It said he actually thought that a dark spirit had entered the room because we were getting a lot of really deep voices at the time.
Yeah.
And some spirit came on and said, now you know how the ghost box is. You get one word real quick. It said, he's a very violent person. Like the whole sentence, and I was like, oh my God. Wow. It just said, he's a very violent person. You know, and then George immediately says, well, I'm calling on St. Michael the Archangel for some help. And all of a sudden it says, Archangel. You know, we're like, oh my God.
Wow. You know what's very odd about that whole session that you guys were doing too is me and Naomi had actually walked past the room, and I heard it say your name 3 times, and I was just like, I've never heard the ghost box and that like accurate. So we stopped, and when we turned around, we both actually saw this shadow walk at the end of the hallway. There's a big atrium area, and it walked from the right-hand side of that atrium area to the left-hand side. It was probably about 6 foot tall, about 250-pound build, black shadow walked across the hallway. And I didn't say anything at first.
Wow.
And Naomi says, did you just see that?
And he goes, yeah, like black shadow, here you go, from right to left. And I'm like, yeah.
And I actually think it's pretty amazing how it happened at the same time you guys were getting those reactions. I don't even know how to stumble down that hallway. But
you should have come in. I mean, we were having a ball in it. You would have been more than welcome to come in. We actually... It was me, George, and Jiggy, and after everybody left, it was like 3 a.m. You know, Sharon's like, are you guys leaving? I said, George, we're going to leave? And he says, no, I'm not leaving yet. You know, so we fired on up to the shadow hallway. You know, and there was like 6 of us up there, and George got in the wheelchair, and, you know, he's whispering to me while just, like, you know when those doors open all the time in the back? They're supposed to open up?
Yeah.
In Shadow Hallway, like right behind you, the 2 doors open up, and you can hear knocking behind the doors, and everybody's looking at the doors, and George is going to me, he's whispering, he's going, don't look that way, look this way, down the hallway, because it was trying to get your attention that way, but doing something else the opposite way, and he already knew this, so I could hear all these bangs, and you know, you want to look that way because of all the banging and everything, but I took his advice, and I kept looking, and all of a sudden you see this crawler coming out of one of the rooms, and I'm like, holy shit, are you seeing this? And he's going, all of a sudden he gets out of the wheelchair, and he's running down the hallway after it, right? And he's turning around to me and saying, are you behind me? And I'm like, 50 feet behind him. I'm going, yeah, I'm behind you. Blow him. Go ahead, take care of it, he said.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then he gets down there, he goes, man, he says, I didn't realize I ran so fast. I said, yeah, you're fast, man. I couldn't keep up with you like that.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Bob, I actually can't wait till November 11th when you're on our show.
So our listeners will have to listen in live for another full hour episode with Bob.
Yep, and hopefully
awesome.
You can bring some of your teammates with you.
Sure. I hope so. I hope a few of them join us. Can I give a shout-out to them?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. I'd like to give a shout-out to the entire Ghost Detective team, Kathy, Kelly, Katie, and Tim. Dave, our new editor, who did a fantastic job this year. Thank you, Dave. Andrew and Mark, thank you so much.
Awesome. And definitely listen to their radio show. What's that, on Tuesday night, Bob?
Tuesdays at 7.
Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So, check them out on the DTM Wicked Radio family.
Yep, and in Pennsylvania, they have their show, Ghost Detectives TV, which you just finished your fourth season?
Fourth season. Yep, we're already booking for season 5, so I'm looking forward to working with you guys. Hint, hint.
Anyways.
We'll be in touch, Bob.
It was awesome talking with you, and thank you so much for your ghost stories. And we'll talk to you on Monday, November 11th.
Have a happy Halloween.
Thanks, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Thanks for having me, guys, and have a happy Halloween, everybody. Bye.
Same to you.
All right, bye. All right, did you guys get the update yet? Oh, now we're on a commercial.
Still 1-0.
Still 1-0.
Yep.
Wow.
Boston.
Oh, woohoo! Go Boston. All right, so our next guest is actually the one person who was my first actual interview that I went on with. And she is so sweet, a ray of sunshine. She is the radio show host of Walk in the Darkness on GTN. She's an investigator and founder of Chasing Shadows Paranormal. I'd like to welcome Sean Paine Stowe.
What's going on, Sean?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hi.
Hello.
Did you just get out of work?
Yes, I did. I'm actually on the road driving.
And see, you must be cheerful because you got out of work. I know I'm like that.
Actually, I'm thinking about all the work that I got to do when I get home. I'm trying to stay positive. So.
There you go.
How you guys been?
Good.
We are doing
good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Busy Halloween season like everybody else, but we're getting through it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
thank you for inviting me on. I appreciate that.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. We definitely should have had you on sooner.
Yeah.
And we definitely have to have you on for a whole hour because Sean is awesome to talk with. We love talking to Sean.
I love your little documentaries when you're on the road to places.
Oh, yes.
You know, the funny thing about that is that I travel so much that it's like when I get on the road, I don't have anything to do, and it's like half the time, you know, everybody in my family doesn't want to talk on the phone, so I'm just like, what am I going to do? So I just start making videos. So
I feel like I'm under trick with you.
Me and Naomi actually did that same thing when we went to Rolling Hills.
Oh, yeah.
The whole trip.
Yeah, well, not the whole thing. It's like, oh, we probably should have videotaped that part.
Yeah.
Terry and Brian are going to be mad at us.
Hey, look, it's Thomas the Train on the back of a big rig.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh, my God.
That's crazy. Anyways, all right, Sean, tell us your wonderful ghost story.
Oh, my goodness. I have so many of them. Let me think. Let's see here. What would be? Oh, I remember I investigated at Eastern State Penitentiary, and I was in cell block 4. And it was like one of my first couple investigations that I had ever done. My first one was at Rolling Hills. So I was terrified when I went there the first time. And but then I felt comfortable after I got in there. But Eastern State was my second one. And like I was with a couple other people. We were going in. We went to bring all of our equipment in, and it was so dark in there. And a couple guys met us at the gate and took us into the round rotunda, and we set up all of our equipment. And we're kind of splitting off, going to different cell blocks. And I had actually one investigator with me, and I'm in the cell block 4, like I said, and I'm excuse me, I'm trying to rile up a little bit of activity. And, I'm like, hey, there's a female in here. Don't you want to talk to me, And there's, like, nothing. So I'm like, oh, it turns out to be investigator. I said, oh, they must be kind of scared of me or something like that. So next thing you know, I keep talking, and I turn around, and the other investigator is gone. Like, left me all the way at the end of cell block 4. I'm like, oh my God. So this is like my second big investigation, and I'm like, okay, I'm down here by myself. I just went and riled everything up. All of a sudden, as I'm walking back up towards, because I'm like, yeah, I'm going to head more towards where you come into the cell block. And as I'm walking back up, all I'm hearing is cell doors just slamming on the upper top part. And I'm like, yeah, it's time for me to get the hell up out of here. So I'm like, I'm walking like real fast. And then I happened to, when I was going through, when I'm heading back up, my camera, it kind of caught me off guard so much with having those doors slam like that I wasn't focusing on where my camera was pointing. So my camera's like pointing in every single cell block, every single cell as I'm going by. And I actually caught a black shadow figure on my that was moving inside the cell as I was going by. So it was really freaking creepy being in there by yourself. And I also got felt up when I was in there, which is always just fantastic. But, something was feeling up my leg when I was sitting in one of the cells, and kind of freaked me out. Yeah, I was like, yeah. And then we were doing like spirit box session, and it was talking about how he was a rapist and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm getting felt up by a rapist now, So that was kind of freaky. But yeah, definitely Eastern State is very, very nuts in there. I've done a couple really crazy. I kind of now steer away a lot from residentials because I had some really bad experiences with them. So one particular residential that I did, which I'm actually still working with a homeowner now, because the property, we ended up having to do a cleansing of the property because the activity level was so bad. So we ended up doing a cleansing, and it's been kind of quiet there for about a year. But now things are kind of getting revved up again because it was the anniversary of a Native American slaughter that happened on her property. So she's been having a lot of activity going on again and some really crazy stuff. So I've been working with her continuously. But one particular time I remember being there, I was standing outside and, like up there with the residential, of course, I'm not going to do any type of provoking. I don't want to leave that homeowner with anything,
right.
after the fact. So I'm just standing up there, just asking basic questions like, can you tell us your name? Can you tell us when you died? Different things like that. And all of a sudden, rocks start zinging by my head. And they're, hitting the actual house. And, I fell to the ground. I'm sitting here, holding my head, trying to avoid these rocks from hitting me in the head. But whatever it was throwing rocks at me because I went and accounted for all of the family. Everybody that was on the property that day was looking around in the like bushes and stuff. Make sure nobody's hiding in there playing jokes on me.
Right.
But yeah, there was nobody. But I found that she's been the only residential that I kind of really, the other ones that I've done, the activity has kind of subsided enough to where the homeowner feels comfortable. But I've had a couple where, actually one in particular where the lady actually lied about a lot of stuff, and she was doing, she had caused a lot of the activity in her house by doing some negative stuff. And I ended up having some side effects from it afterwards. I had something that had followed me home. And so I ended up in the hospital twice after that with severe pain in my chest. I woke up with bruises on me, stuff like that. I mean, yeah, it was crazy. So it's like I kind of, especially me being a solo investigator right now, I don't do anything like that alone, you know, because you never know. I mean, you can go into residential and people might be a nutcase or something and kill you or something, you know. So me being by myself and being a female, of course I got to take all precautions. So I don't really do anything unless I have somebody else with me. But yeah, I've just like so many crazy things have happened to me. You know, I swear I'm probably like the touch magnet. I get touched constantly wherever I go. Usually they come up and they like to grab anywhere and everywhere that they can touch. So it's like, yeah, I don't really particularly like that. But, you know, I guess, you know, it's something that you got to deal with, so.
Right.
We have an investigator. He likes to touch everybody in our group, too, but...
What? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But it's crazy. Like recently, I think one of the most scariest things that has ever happened to me is you always hear about attachments and things like that. I always used to think to myself, whatever, attachments I don't believe in all that. Well, here recently, I started noticing some weird stuff like my personality and things was changing, and I was like having a lot of issues as far as like my mood's going up and down. One minute I wanted to like freaking kill somebody and rip somebody's head off. The next minute I'm like freaking so upset and like manic and all this stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, well I'm 38 years old now, so maybe I better go to the doctor and find out. Make sure I'm not like, you know, premenopausal or some crap. So I go there, everything's fine. Everything's fine. So, oh, I got this cold and it won't go away. But, more or less what was going on is that I had developed a slight attachment from somewhere. And what it was doing was kind of messing with a lot of my moods. And I had to actually seek the help of some people, a couple of people to help me to try to get rid of it. And, yeah, I never thought that that anything like that would ever happen. But it is crazy when you have an attachment, because I did not feel like myself. I didn't feel like anything that I was doing was, you know, like, you know, everything things I was posting on Facebook, like, was absolutely crazy. Like, absolutely crazy. And I go back and read them now, and I'm like, wow, I was putting that stuff on Facebook. You know, but it was like, you know, like, when you have an attachment like that, spirits can, like, manipulate how you act, how you feel, you know, all that stuff. And thank God somebody identified it early enough and helped me to take care of it and get rid of it. And, you know, I feel like myself again. You know, it's like, it's crazy, but, you know, I'm so thankful to them.
Well, Sean, we wish we actually could talk to you much longer. Yeah. And we definitely want to have you on our show because you had us on yours.
Absolutely.
And that was awesome. And I want to thank you for calling in to our Ghost Stories special. And
wish you a happy Halloween.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys get a chance on tomorrow night, I'm actually having my Halloween special as well. if you guys get a chance, go ahead and call in, and we'll chat and stuff. So
what time is that going to be?
That is going to be at 10 o'clock tomorrow night.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
So we should be able to do that.
Also.
Yeah.
All right.
So
you have a good
all
night.
All right. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Drive safe.
Yeah.
All right. Happy Halloween.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Love her. All right. Next with us we have from this.
We just lost him.
Oh.
Nate, you there?
No, he's not there. He's gone. Oh.
Oh.
Well, we were going to have Nate with us, but he disappeared as soon as we...
Yeah, we had a little bit of a cross signal going on, and we were going to switch him to another time slot, and you just lost him. So.
That's okay, but...
Oh, he's back. He's back. Nate? Hold on. We're going to work out the technical difficulties here. Nate, are you with us?
Oh, I am with you.
Yay!
I think we got some paranormal stuff going on with the phones today.
Yeah, as soon as your other guest was off, my phone cut right out. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. We have Nate. He's from the Seacoast Rep. The Seacoast Repertory Theatre. He was actually on My Ghost Stories with STURS. Which is episode 64 that was shown April 21st?
No. April 20th.
April 20th. So we're going to have Nate tell us his ghost stories real quick.
Sure. So thank you very much for having me. I'm sorry I was supposed to come in a little bit earlier. I'm sorry about this. Again, the technical difficulty of that. But yeah, no. So I started working at Seacoast Rep about, I would say, 4 years ago, and I've always been kind of a person that's, but I like to describe myself as like a romantic skeptic, somebody who really wants to believe in sort of the paranormal. I grew up really being very, very much interested in it, but never really had any sort of experiences happen to me, and it wasn't until I started working at the Reps that I started noticing little tiny weird things. My first experience was when I was in a show. And I was in the show there, and I had these little things, these little guitar picks that I had to use as a prop for one of my scenes in the show. And if you're familiar with theater at all, there's 2 or 3 entrances you can go onto your stage. And so I was over on stage right, and I was getting ready for my entrance, and I went to go grab my guitar picks, and they're on this little table that they normally would be. Everything's very organized backstage because you have to go on and off in a quick second. So I go to reach for my guitar picks and they're gone. And I look around and I'm thinking to myself, well, where did somebody take them? Where did they go? I went to my stage manager. I said, hey, my guitar picks aren't where they normally are. Can you tell me where they are? And she said, I have no idea. So I grabbed a penny or grabbed a coin or whatever I had in my pocket and used that as a guitar pick for the scene. It wasn't until after the show that I was walking backstage to go to the dressing room, and I noticed, and I found my guitar picks in a neat little pile about 25 feet from where they would have been.
Wow.
Where they should have been. And they were just in a nice, neat little pile like they would be on the table. And so I called my stage manager over, and I'm like, is this some sort of joke? Like, why would these be over here? Why, you don't screw around with props and stuff like that, especially in a professional setting. You shouldn't be moving people's props around because they need them for the show. And she said, I have no idea how those got there. I have literally no idea how those got there. She's like, it looks like you've met Precocious. And I asked what Precocious was. And she proceeded to tell me that Precocious is the spirit of a little girl that haunts the theater. And at that point, I was kind of like, okay, that's, all right. Kind of laughed at it, kind of, just kind of was intrigued, but at the same time kind of again, being romantic skeptic, I was like, I really would like to believe that, but it was probably somebody else, it was probably just somebody playing a cool trick. It wasn't until a little bit later on when I was working up in the offices, and I got there one day early in the morning, and my coworker was upstairs, so we were the only 2 people in the building. And I got there early in the morning, and I went upstairs and, said hi and put my stuff down, and I had to run down to the box office. And the entrance to the box office is right towards the entrance of the theater in this little sort of inner lobby. And I walked by, and there's nobody in the theater. There's nobody else in the building except for my coworker and I. And walking by the entrance to the theater, I hear this, sort of scratching sound, this really loud, like somebody's pushing a push broom across the stage. And the theater's completely dark. I stick my head in, and I say, hey, is anyone there? Is anyone there? And the sound stops immediately. And I walk into the theater a little bit more. I start saying, hey, hello, is anyone there? Is anyone there? And then all of a sudden it's like this whoosh of cold air, this whoosh, this whole feeling went over my body. And every single hair on my body stood on end. And I ran upstairs. I was like, there's something down in the theater. You got to come check it out. My coworker came downstairs. We turned all the lights on. For every single light we put on, there was nobody in there. There was nothing in there but just the two of us. So when Steve had approached my boss and asked if he could come and investigate the theater because he heard about the different stuff at the theater, kind of the little weird happenings and goings on. We've had a couple tours and different people that come through. Roxy Spreaker has come through a bunch of times on her tours and done stuff. And how there's actually been a very haunted history to the theater. Steve said, hey, I'd like to come and check the place out. So he went to my boss and said, hey, I would like to, come and check the place out. And I told my boss, I said, the only way that I would like to go, I would like to go on the investigation with them. Because apparently, a lot of the activity that's been happening lately has been happening while I was around. So I said, let me go on what to do. So I went with the STURS team. On their second investigation. The first investigation I was unable to go, but the second investigation I went, and I had grown, kind of proficient, I guess, with using the EMF reader and, kind of sensing when things are starting to get a little odd in the area, like just the shift in energies and stuff like that. So I had taught myself how to dowse and how to use a pendulum, years ago. Again, being a romantic skeptic, believing in all of these things, really being intrigued by them, but never really experiencing anything solid. But I brought it with me, and so I said, hey, let's do some, let's do some dowsing in this atrium, this sort of weird, kind of cave-like room that's in this, that's in the basement of the theater. And I said, well, let's go in here. We get a lot of really strange, EMF activity in here where we'll hold the EMF reader into one particular point of the it's usually in the right-hand corner of the room. We get a really, really strong signal, and we move it away from that corner, and it goes away. There's no electricity in that room. You have to literally, hold a lamp up when you're in there. There's nothing in that room. So it's like textbook creepy. It's dark, it's dank, there's water dripping from the ceiling. It's just this really weird room in the middle of nowhere, but in this basement. And there's also this little boarded up sort of window sort of tunnel thing that's in there as well. And learning from Roxy that very well might have been some sort of hallway or tunnel or something like that to across the street to add onto the ocean, or when they were doing exporting, because our building is an old brewery. So she said, that might have been that there. But for some reason, there's a lot of really strange activity in this room. So I said, let's try with the dowsing, or let's do the pendulum. And we started communicating with the spirit in that room, and the pendulum went really, really crazy. And when I asked the pendulum to stop, it stopped literally on a dime. It stopped immediately.
Wow.
So, and you can see the footage, when you watch we had the actual footage and stuff on the episode of My Ghost Story. That footage has been completely untouched. It's been there, and it's going side to side extremely fast, and then literally stopped on a dime. It wasn't until after that I was kind of walking around, and I've been, trying to communicate with Precocious. And so I'm talking to Precocious and talking to her, and I have the EMF reader up, ahead of me. I'm 6'1", so I'm kind of a tall guy, and holding it. And one of Steve's members was filming me, and started to get a lot of really positive, really positive read from the EMF reader while I was holding it above me and walking around, asking precocious, if she's a little girl, we have dolls to play with, if she'd like to, sort of like trigger words that would kind of spike the EMF reader. And every time I mentioned dolls or toys or something like that, I would get a really strong response. It wasn't until I kind of put my arm down that I started to get a really strong response. And I thought to myself, if this is the spirit of a little girl, I shouldn't be holding the EMF reader up really high. I should be holding it lower because, in her physical form, she would have been, shorter. So I put the EMF reader down, and that's when I got every single question that I asked. It responded, and it was almost immediately. And it was the same sort of like boo-doo-doo, like that, just like 1, 2, 3, 4, and it would go back down. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and it would go back down after every single question that I asked. And then I kind of rounded the corner, and I'm still talking, and all of a sudden I felt this touch, this sort of like whack on my arm. Like not like a touch, but like almost like a slap in a strange way, and you could hear it. It was audible. The guy filming was like, "What was that? What was that?" And I jumped, I screamed, and I looked, and I had this little tiny red mark on my arm, and I immediately ran out on the page. I showed Steve and his team members, and I was just touched. I was just touched, and the feeling that I had as soon as that happened was like, I'm gonna be sick. Like I know a lot of people describe their feelings of like when they are. When they have been touched by some sort of entity that they either feel extreme sadness or they feel, joy or like they have some sort of connection. I felt like I was going to be sick. Like I felt like I was literally going to throw up. And after that point, I had just been drained of any sort of energy or anything to do anything. So I said, I got to get out of here. I said, I throw the towel in. I'm done. And yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to have to cut you off there, man. We're definitely running short on time, and we got like 3 people in the wings. We would definitely love to get you on an hour show, like I said before.
Sure, yeah, most definitely.
And thank you for calling in. We definitely appreciate that. So.
Yeah, no problem. No, I'd be happy to share any more stories. I have plenty more.
Sorry, I had to cut you off.
No worries. No, it's totally fine.
We definitely want you to totally tell the story, complete it, and everything on, like we were talking before, about on your own show, and that would be awesome.
And if anybody's interested, check out My Ghost Stories, episode 64. Me and Nate and the rest of the STURS team are on that episode, and you can definitely see what he was talking about.
Good episode.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Nate. We wish the best for you. Happy Halloween.
Talk to you later.
All right, well.
Oh, I just cut him. Oh, I feel bad. Oh, I'm glad. I wish we had more time for him to share that story.
I wish I had some alcohol.
Wapatula?
Oh, I definitely need Wapatula.
That's a good story. Everybody should actually watch that. I'm
not saying that. I'm saying because of all right, we got them lining up.
We have with us right now John Tobin, which is the CEO, founder, and lead investigator of Glory Haunt Hounds. He's the host of Keeping the Spirits Alive, and it's also on DCM Wicked Radio, and the John Tobin Show on the A1B network. Sorry. He's been seen on My Ghost Stories, and also starring in a horror comedy movie, A Grim Becoming, which is coming out in 2014.
Welcome, John.
Hey,
Hi, John. I apologize for having you on hold for so long. We actually have all these great stories, and obviously not enough time for them. So if you could, and I hate to ask this quickly, tell us your ghost story, we would greatly appreciate it.
We definitely want you on your own show, too.
Yeah.
No problem. We're going to work that out sometime. You guys, here's a scary story. You guys are on the same time as my show. That's scary to me. So.
Right.
We'll have to do some sort of pretty cool cool thing or something, but we'll work it out. Yeah, I'll jump into for me, I've been doing paranormal research for, 20-something years, longer than I care to think about, but my story goes from, my encounter with the Holy Grail of paranormal research was a full-body apparition, so it was completely unexpected, but in short, I used to live in this old house. The house wasn't that old, it's probably built in the 30s or so, but I don't really know. Unfortunately, I've had trouble tracking down the history of the house. We had a lot of weird incidents in the house. Lights that burst on their own, and TVs going on and off, and door handles that rattle and shake, you could see them turn, and never anybody there. And we had one situation where toys kept going off on their own. So one time I had this grill, this gas grill that would keep going off, and there was batteries from it. After we moved the battery to it, it would still turn on and go off. And then one day we said we've had enough of this to just my son, like, he was 14 now, he was 6 or 7 at the time. He decided to put the the toy plastic grill down into our basement, figuring, all right, well, even if it goes off the basement here, it's not going to wake up in the middle of the night. And we went on vacation, came back from vacation, and in the house since we were gone. And that gas grill that we moved, or that toy grill that we moved into the basement was back up in the upstairs third floor hallway. And the doors have been locked and nobody's been in there. So that's a very, very unusual thing. But at least the most unusual thing that happened in this particular house. One night I was home from a concert, and I had come home, and my stepfather had this tendency, like all kids do, the kids get out of bed, they keep getting more excuses and more excuses to get out of bed. So they get out of bed, and they just have to bathroom, and that and the other. So it was kind of going, and I was tired, and you get a little bit on edge and stuff. And, at one point, I remember I forgot with my wallet or something in the car, so I went out to the car to get what I forgot. And I came back upstairs. I thought I got out of bed, or I thought I started to get out of bed. And I looked up, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I was like, this time. About all this, and as soon as I saw this, I looked up. There was a girl sitting in front of me. Long hair, except for her had short brown hair, and she looked at me, she smiled, she looked almost pixelated and disintegrated in front of my eyes, and I realized that all these things that had happened in the house, I always suspected the whole girl was throwing in her. My heart just started pumping, my blood started flowing, I was running from room to room, and what I do, I just ran to my stepdaughter to make sure it wasn't her. She was, at that point, already sound asleep. And then I just thought, oh God, I just saw this girl and I tried to put to a T. The strangest part of it is it was somebody that had drawn a psychic picture of what this would look like, and I had never seen this picture. And the picture was shown to me like 2 days later after I gave a complete description, and I wrote down exactly what this person looked like. And what I had described that I had seen looked exactly like the picture that was drawn months before. So,
wow.
It was, that was freaked me out. And that was, we're talking now, this was in the late 90s. I had already been doing independent paranormal research before that, so that really pushed it to the next level where I really had to know what are we dealing with here, what's going on. I know what I saw, and that really pushed me to the forefront of really wanting to do paranormal research. So to me, that's an experience I'll never forget. I have never seen that apparition since or before. That's something that I'll never forget.
Wow.
Great story.
Yeah, that's a good story. It was a little bubbly. The connection was a little weird, but I caught good chunks of the words. John, like we were talking before this, definitely we need to have you on the show or vice versa. Or we got to do something since we're on at the same time. But I'm so glad you were able to join us.
Join shows, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Cool show. Can we do that?
Can we do a mutual show?
I don't know. We'll work something out here. We'll talk about it for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, John. I know you had your show just before ours, and
thanks for being patient.
Yeah, thank you for being patient,
no
and we'll catch up on another time. Okay.
Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
Have a happy Halloween. You
Same
too.
to you. Wow.
John Tobin, everybody. Awesome guy.
Yeah, very, very, very nice man. Absolutely nice man. One person we have coming on right now, love her to death, is Letriana Brown. She is the radio show host of Family Spirit on BTVN, co-founder of Paranormal Research Organization of the Southeast. She is a fourth-generation ghost hunter. She is also an actress and model and many other things, actually. I could go on and on and on and on and on about her. And she is a sweet Southern belle.
What's going on, Letriana?
Thank you, guys. Hey, y'all, how you doing?
Good.
Oh, we have been busy. If I had hair, I would pull it all out right now.
Oh, my goodness.
Letriana, I have 5 minutes for you to tell us your ghost story, and I wish I had more time, and we definitely need to, I know you had us on your show, so we definitely need to have you on ours for your own show as well.
Oh, thank you.
But go ahead, tell us your ghost story.
I have had, small experiences, large experiences, all throughout my life. But this is the first one. The first experience I had, my parents took me on a paranormal investigation, largely because I was the one that reported it through some friends of mine from school. There was a nearby orphanage, and there was a report that, remember the seesaws on the playground?
Yeah.
Like a long board, and people get on, and it's just a matter of time before you get hurt on one of those. Either you slide off, and the person on the other side, cracks their tailbone, or the thing comes up and hits you in the chin, or lots of people have gotten hurt on this. Well, this was one of those times. Several years prior, there was a child that had accidentally fallen off the seesaw, and the other child fell, and they were really long boards. And the child broke her neck. It was just completely an accident, just a playground accident. Everybody loved the girl. She was a year and a half, maybe 2 years older than me. I mean, it just traumatized all of us. But several of the other students that were in her, had the same den mother and or house mother. A lot of those kids were telling me about going on the playground or in their dorm room, hearing the seesaw at night. And it was just very traumatizing to hear this, And they ended up actually moving from that particular home to another home. And I told my dad about it, and he had done some programs with wildlife and that kind of thing for this particular orphanage, so they knew him. So he called and said, hey, this is what I've heard. Can we check it out at night after all the children have gone to bed? Well, my mom and dad wouldn't take me on investigations that often because, I already had things happening to me early in life. And so they were, I don't know, my dad was just ultra protective. I don't know. But anyway, he was just trying to protect me. And, I said, look, I want to go. I'm the one that got this one. I want to know what's going on. She was my friend. So my dad had one of those old T-Birds, and it was baby blue, and it had the suicide doors. And it was around Halloween, and it had been warm like the weather now. So they had the warm weather, but the cold was coming in, so it created a fog. And the fog was rolling in, and my dad said, I want you to stay here. We're going to park on the side of the road. We're going to go over here to this playground. I'm going to do an EVP session. He called it a talk session. And I took a few pictures, and then we might come back later. And he said, you're getting sick. I always get sick this time of year. I've got a terrible allergy for ragweed. So he said, just stay in the car. We'll leave it running and leave the heat on for you. Well, I fell asleep. I did. Anytime the wheels turn on a car, even now, luckily I don't drive that often. My husband drives. But I fall asleep on the road. It's slow to ride in the car. I was out in the back seat, and I heard a tapping on my window. And I looked, and I saw a little girl, a hand of a little girl. And I thought, oh, my gosh. And I wiped the window, and I thought I saw my friend. And I said, Tina, and I opened the door, the suicide door to the back, and I got out of the car, and she wasn't there anymore. About that time, the car started rolling into the ditch, and a car came over the hill and was coming around the curb, and it was coming right for me, and I felt someone jerk me back. And if the car hadn't rolled, it would have hit us in the rear. And we were on the side of the road. It's just this car was going way too fast and was not very, steady. And I got pulled out of the corner of the road so that I wouldn't get hit as well.
Wow.
And I looked, and my friend was gone. My friend was gone.
Wow.
And I was just sitting there in the grass in the dew. The dew had already dropped. Of course, the fog was rolling in. I was crying because my friend showed me she still loved me. And I was terrified, but this wreck, almost happened. And, the little hands on the window, I thought I saw my friend in her little dress. She always wore a dress. And, I just thought I saw her. And it was, it wasn't so terrifying as it was. That was my first experience. And it was interactive. I mean, I had seen things. I've always seen things,
Mm-hmm.
But this particular thing was someone that I had known. It reached out to me in a very special way to protect me. And I would just wish I had been there to save her,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very special.
And at least we made that very special connection. And, you could play this in a very fearful way, but, all of us ghost hunters, this is more of a special feeling. And it was this time of year. This was my first experience. I was terrified. I was asleep.
Right.
And somebody knocked on my window, pulled me out of the car rolls in the ditch, and a car comes barreling over the hill. I was terrified.
Wow.
Just proves that you always have somebody looking after you.
Well, I hope she's doing okay because, I haven't played it very safe. She's calling me around to help me. Bless her heart. But that's my story. I have a couple others. One that's really, really scary. But with 5 minutes, this one's probably the best one.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys have a
that
great
story.
Halloween.
You too,
Thank you.
And keep those stories for when we talk to you for the hour show, because we definitely want to hear them.
Sure. Well, thank you for
Absolutely.
having me on my show, and blessings to both of you.
Blessings to you too. Thank you,
Thanks for
Litriana.
joining.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you. Happy Halloween. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Love that girl. She's so sweet.
Woo-hoo! Wapatula time.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
I'd like to welcome our family, our DTM family. We have with us Tammy Rosenfeld. She is the founder of Salt City Paranormal Investigations and radio show host for Sisterhood of Women in the Paranormal.
She's been on hold forever.
Yes, God bless her. And we also have with us the owners of DTM Wicked Radio and producers and radio show hosts of The Wicked Edge. I'm getting tongue-tied. And also part of DTM Paranormal Investigations, Benny and Tiffany Gagger.
And a great maker of a
Wapatula!
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Well,
You're welcome.
You guys are crazy.
We're crazy.
we are out of our minds right now. You don't even know.
Hey, Tiffany, you can be pretty crazy yourself. And I hear Tammy could be pretty crazy, too.
Yeah, what's the deal here about the party girl?
It's a rumor.
Did you have a good weekend,
It's
guys?
just a rumor. Nothing can be proven.
No pictures were taken.
No. There were pictures taken. I saw some of them.
What stays at Tobin stays at Tobin.
What happens at Tobin? Are you drinking Wapatula? Anyway, so Tammy, tell us your ghost story.
I'll make it brief. I have been seeing stuff all my life since I was 5 years old, but my family was homeless when I was a teenager, and I had to go live with this family who was into the dark arts, and I saw hooded figures.
Wow.
in their house. I saw brown ones and black ones with glowing eyes. And
wow.
I used to sleep in the living room on a cot, and they used to surround my cot sometimes. So
wow.
They were pretty scary.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll pass on that.
Yeah, you'll pass on that. Oh my goodness, that is scary. That would kind of freak me out, I think. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was attacked a couple of times by him. So.
Really?
Wow.
It wasn't. Yeah.
That's scary. Hopefully that's not still happening to you.
Yeah.
Yes? Oh.
Hello?
I said I hope that's not still happening to you.
Oh, no. They did follow me once I left that house. They were still around me, and it didn't stop until I started getting recognizing God in my life and Jesus.
Oh, good. Awesome. Yeah. Now, Tiffany, do you have like a really, 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 really quick story for us? You have like 3 minutes max.
3 minutes.
You got it. The house my father lives in actually has a really dark history and built in an Indian paragon. I know some people think that isn't significant, but it is to me. I have experienced negative things there, but the worst thing I'd ever experienced was actually attacked. It's the only time I've ever attacked. And I was sleeping in bed. I had to go from work the third shift, so I stayed at my father's house that night. And this was just a couple of years ago. And I remember I was completely wide awake because I was thinking, should I get up early, go get coffee? Should I wait the extra half hour and sleep and then try to get coffee? And all of a sudden I felt like this hand just pushed my face right into my pillows. And
wow.
I couldn't breathe. And I tried to scream out for my father. And all of a sudden the hand let up. And where my room was in my father's house he lives in a cul-de-sac, and you can see the shadows. You can see the light reflecting out of the wall, and when cars go by, you can see the shadow of the car. Well, something went by the window, but it wasn't a car. It was the shadow of what looked like a man, a very big man. And it felt so much. I got out of bed. I took a shower, ran downstairs, and my dad's like, what's wrong? You're like white as a ghost. I'm like, I was just attacked upstairs. And I explained to him what happened. He goes, the same thing happened to me a couple nights before. And 50% negative energy can, affect people. Him and my wicked step monster were fighting. And so it escaped me. And so I think that has something to do with it. But that was my worst experience. I was actually physically attacked. And I honestly thought for a second there I was going to suffocate.
Wow, that is scary.
I have to say, I think that was the quickest story I've ever heard. You talked so fast. That was unbelievable.
That was awesome, Tiffany.
I was like, wow, we need to do that. That was awesome.
I felt like I was at an auction,
Sold.
Now, before we run out of time, I just want to make sure that we thank all of our guests tonight.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
it's been a pleasure.
14 of them, I believe.
We tried to get them all on.
Oh, wait, 13. We actually didn't hear from Denny, but we still love you, Denny. And definitely thank you to all of the people that came.
Awesome.
I loved everybody's stories. We have a few people that are going to be joining us another time. One of them is Bob Christopher from Ghost Detectives, and that will be on the 11th of November. And then on the 25th, we are going to have Lorna Roberts, which she's definitely awesome to have as well. We want to real quick play.
Everybody, you cover your ears for this. This is my daughter. I believe she's going to be a scream queen when she gets older because she had a message to send everybody. So.
Yep. This is especially from A-Town.
A-Town.
Happy Halloween!
She's the cutest little thing.
She was so excited that she got to contribute something to this show, so I just wanted to put her on there one more time.
So on behalf of Into the Unknown Realm and DTM Wicked Radio, we hope you all have a very, very happy Halloween.
Happy
Halloween.
Happy one. Stay spooky. Bye.
Oh, hold on.
You guys.
Oh, hold on.